Hello, thanks for tuning in. This is a call from Dave from the UK, 7th of April 2024, the line with Paula Gia and Matt Dillahunty. He's calling in, he's making an argument about the existence of God. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I wrote what I wrote, precisely because we can't be 100% certain about anything. Now, I'm a theist, I'm a Christian, but I don't see any need to evangelize to everyone, or perhaps more importantly, even to evangelize to myself that I am 100% certain that God exists, because we can't be 100% certain that God exists. And one thing that...
Yeah, I've heard this argument, if you can call it an argument, I call it an excuse, that because we can't be 100% certain that God exists, therefore there's no need for me to convince you or others, and there's not even any need for me to convince myself. I'm just going to go ahead and believe. This is what we hear time and time again. It completely ignores the burden of proof, not only on the claim that you're making to others, but also the claim you're making to yourself. So all I would say is, on that basis, one could believe anything. One could justify belief in absolutely anything. Let's keep going.
I'm confused. I'm confused. Right? Are you saying you don't feel the need to go and evangelize to anyone, or you just don't need to evangelize 100% certainty?
I don't evangelize. No, personally, I don't evangelize.
So why do you disregard the command in the Bible to evangelize?
Well, the first reason is because it was almost certainly added in later by the early church. We know that the Gospel of Mark originally ended abruptly with, and they said nothing.
Yeah, but the Great Commission isn't just in Mark, it's also in Matthew.
Okay, a bit of confusion here. First of all, he's saying he doesn't evangelize initially because it can't be 100% certain, proven that God exists. That's the first reason that he gave. And then when Matt said, you're saying that you don't evangelize generally, or you just don't evangelize that it can be 100% certain, proven that God exists, because that can't be proven. Clarify your point. And now he's saying, well, I don't really evangelize anyway. And the reason that I don't do that is because I think that, as Matt pointed out, why don't you order the command to evangelize? Because that was added later. So I don't know, he's kind of dancing around here and moving the goalposts, and it's difficult to see where he's going with it.
True.
And while Mark 16:9 through 20 probably aren't, they may be later interpretations or interpolations. Matthew 28, I'm not aware of anybody saying that ending wasn't there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair, because Matt knows the Bible better than you do. That's why.
I see your point.
And it's in red letters, so we know that Jesus said it.
Allegedly, right? Yes.
All right, that's quite funny, because he's now putting the obligation. If a Christian comes on and says it's against my policy to evangelize for whatever reason whatsoever, and then Matt says, well, it says that in the Bible, and he's read up, says, well, that was an interpolation that went in later, and Matt says, no, there's another verse, Matthew, you can't get away with that one, and now that's it, game over.
Well, yeah, I'm with you on the allegedly. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, so the point I wanted to get into is precisely because we can't be 100% sure. I don't think it's. I don't think that we can award ourselves a warrant to try to force our views on it to everybody else. And one of the things that annoys me.
Yeah, but that's not the issue, is it? I mean, we all agree with that nobody should be forcing their views on anybody else in any circumstance whatsoever. There's the art of persuasion, but that's not forcing one's views on anybody else. So he's making a bit of a straw man for himself and for others. So let's see where he's going, in fact.
About if you spend any long enough time on the theist and atheist debating circuit, is when you run into presuppositionalism, where they convince themselves that they can be 100% certain, and that their certainty is because We're right because we're right. We can't.
Okay, now I want you to try and understand what's happening here. I don't think he knows why he's called in. Whether he's made a few notes, I don't know. Maybe he thought that he would start off in a particular direction and make this point about, well, can't 100% certain prove it. Therefore, I don't really need to justify it to myself or to anybody else. Matt unexpectedly threw a spanner in the works with, well, why you're not evangelizing. It was unpredictable. He didn't know he was going to say that. Now he's created a diversion because he's called in saying that he's a Christian, but he doesn't evangelize anybody. Well, he should be evangelizing because that's what it directs you to do in the Bible. So he's lost that one. Now what Matt should be doing is say, well, wait. Before we go on to presuppositionalism, you said that you're a Christian. Why are you a Christian? What are your reasons? We know you can't be 100% certain, but you must have some reason. You're not just, you didn't just, believe in this whole religion for no reason whatsoever. What's your reason for belief? You should be nailing him down here, but he's created a diversion now, and he's rubbishing other Christians, other believers. He's rubbishing presuppositionalists by claiming that they're 100% certain in their belief, and I'm not really sure that that's the case. Let's see if Matt takes him to task on that, but it is a diversion, because there's nothing worse than a Christian who calls in and badmouths and rubbish talks other Christians. They're the absolute worst of them.
Not be right, and we argue from being right rather than to be.
Well, we don't need a lesson in what presuppositionalists are doing. I mean, this is one occasion when I think Matt should be impatient with somebody who is obviously creating a diversion. And not only that, lecturing Matt Dillahunty, of all people, on what presuppositionalism is.
Right. And it annoys me, and I'm going to be honest, I have more tests of my faith from hearing extremely bad arguments from extremely confident people who are absolutely convinced they're right than I do.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm an atheist, and the reason I don't believe in the existence of God is because there's insufficient evidence. I've heard some terrible atheists out there who have presented really bad arguments for their disbelief, but their bad arguments or their bad reasons for their disbelief never shook my confidence in my disbelief. So I would say that if he's suffering a crisis of faith because there are Christians out there making bad arguments, then he hasn't got any. It shows where he is in his epistemology, that his faith is on a very, very shaky foundation.
Listening to atheists, I can listen to atheist epistemology for hours and agree with a lot of it. And then you hear extremely bad, aggressive presuppositionalism from people like Saitan Brugenke.
Okay, so his faith is shaken by bad Christian arguments. He can listen to atheists for hours and agree with a lot of it. What part of it doesn't he agree with, and why is he a Christian?
And you just think to yourself, what are these people smoking?
Well, what are you smoking? What are you smoking that you've come on, said that you're a Christian because, and you don't have to justify it to anybody or yourself because it can't be 100% proven. And now you're dancing around, throwing dirt at other Christians and saying, what are these people smoking? You're the Christian. You believe, I presume if you're a Christian, you believe in salvation, etc., the living Jesus and the rest of it. What are you smoking? Explain it to us. Never mind. Don't, as Jesus said, before you take a splinter out of your neighbor's eye, first get the log out of your own eye.
And I just think that it's almost like sometimes religious people think that they forget that it's about faith. They forget that faith is a necessary component of being religious.
Why? Why? How are you using faith? Evidence. How are you using faith? Are you saying faith is belief in the absence of evidence?
Well, it is. It is belief in the absence of evidence.
Why are you saying that's essential?
Well, it's essential to religious belief. It's more or less what makes religious belief versus something else.
Okay. but you're suggesting that it's essential, like it's a requirement. Why would a God require gullibility?
Well, we don't know. And one option could easily be that there isn't a God. And I can accept that that's an option, that there isn't a God. But I personally don't believe that's the correct answer.
Okay, so you believe that there is a God. Why?
So you believe there is a God,
yes,
but that there's not a good reason to believe that.
Well, I think that we can, almost everybody, well, we can have reasons to believe it, or not want to cross the floor, as it were. That I was raised a Christian. I was born a Christian. I was raised a Christian, and I don't see a reason to cross the floor into atheism. I think that there could be a God. I have faith that there is a God. I understand that there isn't direct evidence of a God.
This is so weird, Dave.
Yeah.
You seem to be suggesting that the burden of proof is on the atheist and not on the theist.
Well, not really. It's like
yeah, he needs some evidence that his beliefs are untrue in order to cross the floor to atheism. It's classic switching the burden of proof. The burden of proof is on the beliefs that you have, not on the disbelief position, the default position.
Like if I was
Dave,
if I was an atheist.
Did you not just say that you don't see a reason to cross over into atheism? That sentence suggests that atheism has some burden of proof that it hasn't met, when in fact atheism is the rejection of the theistic claim, and the reason for it is because the theistic claim hasn't met its burden of proof, which you acknowledge it hasn't and may not be able to do.
Yeah, I'd just like to come back to what Matt said. Why would God require gullibility? And he said he doesn't know the answer to that question, meaning that he admits that it takes gullibility in order to believe in the existence of God, but that in order for him to shift from his position of gullibility, he needs some disproof of that position. Mainly that he needs proof that there is no God, that God doesn't exist, in order to cross that floor to atheism, and he has switched the burden of proof. He prefers to remain in the gullible position. He's more or less admitted that there are no good reasons to believe in the existence of God. But in order to move from that gullibility position, he needs to be pushed by the opposite side, providing evidence that his position is untrue, is incorrect, and is false.
Well, from my point of view, being a Christian or being born a Christian, from my perspective, I would want a reason to stop being a Christian.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, so he needs reasons to stop being a Christian. I mean, what can I say? It would be, I suppose it would be a bit like me believing in the Loch Ness Monster without it having been proven that it exists, and then me saying, I'm only going to stop believing in the Loch Ness Monster when you've proven to me that the Loch Ness Monster doesn't exist. It's an irrational position. It's a fallacious position. And I don't think we need listen to any more of this call. He goes on and on for about 40 minutes, going through different reasons, speculating on why Christians believe what they believe, how we can tackle various fallacies, etc. I'm surprised that Matt entertained him actually for as long as he did. He eventually moved on to how do you convince somebody who is anti-choice in the abortion debate as an issue. How do you convince somebody that is anti-choice? And he came up with a way of doing it. Apologia and both Matt said, well, that's not how to do it. I think he said it's by making them admit that they want to do it because they want to have power over people. And, you know, Apologia said, well, that's not the way to do it. It's got to be bodily autonomy. And then the whole thing just fizzled out, and he said, I think, call back another time. But they wasted 40 minutes going through all these different scenarios, you know, trying to second guess why Christians, what motivations have they got for believing what they believe. He's a Christian. He's got these beliefs. I think they should have focused on, let's get down to the nitty gritty and stop dancing around why. You must have reasons for belief. You can't just admit, if you're going to admit you're gullible and that faith is gullibility and that's it, then this conversation is over. I think that they should have stayed on that, because really they just wasted more or less 40 minutes of viewers' time on this completely. I think it was just a diversion. He didn't want to talk about his reasons why he did believe. So I don't know, maybe he just likes listening to his own voice. I hate to say it, but all the worst calls coming from the UK. I've got no idea why. Absolutely no idea. So another dumb call from the UK. I'm not taking responsibility for that. I'm British, and, you know, dumb idiots call in from all over the place, but there seem to be more than a fair proportion are calling in from the UK, and I'm getting tired of it. I want to hear some intelligence coming out of the UK. Besides what you hear from me, of course. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.